Good morning, Dr. Osborne, distinguished guests and visitors of our site. When you look at this collage, what automatically comes to your mind? What is the first thing? You don't even have to think about it. Would it be the 80s movies? Maybe the 80s music? Or maybe even the 80s fashion? Well, today, Morgan Thorne, Rachael Wheeler, and I, Chris Hieb, will present you with the case study of the Ralph Lauren Corporation, a company in crisis. I know what you're thinking. How can an iconic double pop collar corporation be in such turmoil? Well, please follow us as we go through our brief agenda today, and with an overview of the company history, its strategies, some inside framework analysis, Michael Porter's 5 forces framework, key financial ratios, and then finally our recommendations. Next, Rachel is going to go ahead and talk about the company history.
Good evening. Our company was founded in 1960 by Ralph Lauren in New York, and they originally only sold ties. This is unique now because Ralph Lauren sells multiple types of clothing, such as women's clothing, men's clothing, children's clothing, and even some accessories. It offers luxury products that are apparel, accessories, fragrances, and home furnishings. There are 493 stores and 583 concession-based shops and 10 e-commerce sites worldwide. This business operates in 3 segments. The segments are wholesale, retail, and licensing. So the current strategies that Ralph Lauren is going through right now is expanding their international presence, predominantly in Asia and Europe. So this gives them a bigger customer base in those countries, which could often boost their sales. They're also extending direct-to-customer reach via Ralph Lauren stores and their e-commerce, while also innovating and expanding new and emerging market categories, particularly in accessories. This is important for Ralph Lauren because they're trying to boost their sales, so the accessories and the expansion could be something that would give them more customers and more people to advertise to. So for SWOT, we did the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The strengths would be incorporating 4D mapping into its marketing campaign. This is a marketing idea that has become very popular in a lot of retail now, is to have 4D mapping, which helps understand the geographic as well as the consumers better. They're also, the quality of their product, they're already a really well-known product that's a luxury brand, which is specifically known for quality. So that is definitely a strength they have. And they're also trying to expand globally, although they've not done that. They have plans to do that more than what they already have. The weaknesses is there's also cheaper off-brand clothing, and with that, there's so many different brands that you can purchase that aren't Ralph Lauren that look identical to Ralph Lauren. So it's hard for them to distinguish their brand besides it being a luxurious product. Marketing towards high-end buyers. Since they are a luxury product, they only market to higher-end companies. So when the economy drops and there's ebbs and flows in the economy, people tend not to buy from Ralph Lauren, or they only want to buy things that are on sale, which often cuts their profit. Opportunities is expanding into emerging markets in India and other foreign countries. They are in some foreign countries, but India would be a big customer base, just like other ones. E-commerce, they are online right now, but they're not fully expanded into e-commerce like other companies are, so they're still trying to rely on their mortar-based stores. So going more e-commerce would definitely help them more. And the threats, it's a highly segmented industry. There's no operational control, and the fashion trends are always changing. The highly segmented industry is definitely something that is a threat for Ralph Lauren, just like the fashion industry is always changing. There are multiple types of fashion, and the trends that come and go, just like Chris talked about earlier, the 80s was really big with Ralph Lauren. Now Ralph Lauren is something that I don't even really consider to be a clothing choice for me. Although I'm a more conservative shopper, that's also why you would see that as a threat, because most of the time your millennials are looking for different brands that aren't Ralph Lauren. So VRIN. This is where a big part of where Ralph Lauren we see to have a problem. They don't create value, and they aren't really rare. They are imitatable, and they are non-substitutable. So they're not really putting a competitive edge for them. Their product is so easy to reproduce, and it has numerous alternatives into making it. There are brands that you can go get from Walmart, Target, TJ Maxx. You can even get Ralph Lauren brand at some of those stores, such as TJ Maxx and Ross. So it's easy to reproduce, it's easy to make a replica of it, and they're also, not very rare. It's not something that you can't just find at just that store, since you can find so many different alternatives. There's also a lack of competitive advantage, which is what BRIN is, looking at. They don't have a competitive advantage, which is why they're fixing to be in more trouble, because the competitive advantage that they used to have, they no longer have. So they got kind of over their head when they thought they were such a big place in the 80s, and now when they're coming back, there is not as much competitive advantage. Now Morgan will come talk to you.
So the PESTEL analysis for Ralph Lauren, PESTEL examines the macro-environmental factors that affect the company, and politically, Ralph Lauren can grow in markets such as Asia and the Middle East, and this expansion will influence the price of imported goods. Economically, the fluctuation of the economy without fluctuating prices. Another thing that affects the economy is the demand for the product. So if demand goes down, profits are going to go down, and vice versa. And also, when the economy is in a downturn, customers may have a hard time buying the product. Socially, Ralph Lauren can enhance their brand image, and to improve their social impact, they can also make a positive impression on their customers. They can do this through the use of social media or any other outlet that they choose. Technological wise, they can improve their e-commerce, which on their website they offer a translator, so that's one positive thing they do, but they can also improve in other ways as well. Environmentally, Ralph Lauren controls aspects of outsourced environmental impacts, and they can create an eco-friendly clothing line. This would go in hand with the Go Green initiative that we keep seeing with the millennials, and they can have control over that. Legally, they can look at their contracts they have with the companies right now, and they can also look at the laws and regulations in each country it does business with. Porter's 5 forces. The first force looks at the rivalry among competitive sellers. They are rated moderate to high in this force, and that's because the small growing industry and market. So as buyer demand is slowly growing, they won't have as much profit. It's also low cost to switch brands, so customers can go back and forth without any high cost. And they also have strong rivals, which reduces their revenue. The next force is competitive pressures from potential entrants. They are low to medium in this one. It's due to high barriers or high capital cost, and they also have high brand recognition, and new entrants will increase their competition. The third force is competitive pressures from the sellers of substitute products. Low switching costs, the appeal to upper and middle class because they want to show their affluence, and the knockoffs rate this as a moderate level. And then the fourth force is the supplier bargaining power. And supplier bargaining power is stronger when supplier products are differentiated, when there's no goods or substitutes, and when supplier product is in short supply. So Ralph Lauren has a low bargaining power from suppliers due to their use of over 700 different manufacturers worldwide, with not one of them having more than 4% of their total production. The fifth force is buyer bargaining power. and they're rated moderate to that. Buyers can limit a company's profitability by using price concessions and also for better payment terms, and to increase when bargaining power increases when buyer supplier is weak compared to industry supply, when the industry product is undifferentiated, and when there are low costs of switching. So if Ralph Lauren doesn't keep up with their customer preferences, then customers will go elsewhere. And Chris will talk to you more about the financials.
All right, for the financials, we broke them down into various areas. So the first area is valuation ratios. For the profits and earnings ratio for Ralph Lauren, as you can see, is way up high at 46.34, with the industry average being 19.88. This indicates a strong investor confidence in the firm and towards outlook and future growth. But unfortunately, right now, with the turmoil that is going on at the executive level at Ralph Lauren Corporation, right now the stock prices continue to drop as the confidence in the corporation is getting lower and lower. As far as the beta, Ralph Lauren is maintaining just a little bit below the industry average, and it shows to be a troubling factor for them, but it really isn't, as they're maintaining in line with the industry. The current ratio, the word in strength and financial strength and leverage ratios, the current ratio right now is at 2.55%, which is just a little bit higher than what the industry indicates, and which it also indicates that it's good because it is between 1 and 3%. But the problem is they're moving very closer to the 3% marker, and once they go above the 3%, then they're going to be a good candidate for bankruptcy as well. The debt to equity ratio is 0.27, which shows it's pretty good right there, and even less riskier than the industry average at 0.63. Profitability, right now they're showing good profitability as far as the gross profit margin at 56.54%, where Ralph Lauren is losing out to its competition across the industry is the operating profit margin, which is 4.19% compared to a little over 10% for the industry. And this is really shown in their bottom line, where they have high inventory remaining at the end of every cycle, and on the annual report you'll see what is eating into their operating profit margin is the low inventory turnover. EBIT is just a little over 550 million, and the net profit margin, which is again lower than the industry average due to having high inventory. Management effectiveness ratios, the ROA, is 3.12%, just a little bit below the industry average. Same with the return on equity and investors' capital is just a little bit above the industry average, because Ralph Lauren is one of the only fashion corporations that do provide a quarterly dividend. And the thing to look at as a quarterly dividend started out as 5 cents approximately 20 years ago, and now within the last 20 years has jumped all the way up to 50 cents per share. Other measurements of financial performance, inventory turnover, as I said, is a lot lower than the industry comparison, which means that Ralph Lauren is continuously having a lot of inventory left over, which is due to millennials not wanting to purchase the higher end materials, and a lot of the subpar quality and craftsmanship of the lower end lines that Ralph Lauren has. Dividend yield is pretty high compared to the industry average because, like I said, every year they've been increasing their dividend up from 5 cents to now 50 cents per share. The long-term debt to capital is a lot lower than the industry, which shows they are somewhat surviving. All right. And I'll be followed by Rachel with our recommendations. Sorry.
So our recommendations for Ralph Lauren are to scale back with vision for a near period of terms in their product line. So to try to come bringing it back to right now. What do people want right now, not really in the future, because they're trying to have a futuristic mind. And to reduce the lower quality brand lines. So that's basically saying they should, try to compete with the people that are, their competitors right now, but being able to reduce the brands that they have right now. And Ralph Lauren also needs to decide what they want to do. Either he's going to step aside as a CEO and run the company, or he's going to commit solely to just fashion designing. So to kind of clear that up, Chris talked about this earlier, that right now the CEO, he sometimes wants to do fashion designing and then sometimes he wants to commit to running the company. So he kind of flip-flops between what he's going to do. So he either needs to be the leader and be a CEO, or go back to his passion, which is the fashion designing, because it's really trying to hurt the company because he's switching back and forth and they don't have a really great leadership going on right now for their company. So they really need someone that's going to take charge and decide what the future of the company is going to be so they don't get left behind. And I would just like to thank you, Dr. Osborne, for letting us do this project, and we really enjoyed it. We learned a lot about the things that we did throughout the semester, and we hope you really enjoy our video. Thank you.